Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. Obviously you guys see there's like a different background setup, but I wanted to do more like laid back, chill, in the comfort of my home, my room, whatever, like videos, a little more real as well. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know that I started doing like weekly pics for my makeup. And I kind of wanted to do that because I also wanted to do kind of like shop my stash videos here on YouTube. That way I could be more consistent with my videos, and kind of make myself to do the videos and to use my makeup, because for 2020 I want to kind of downsize my collection. I want to kind of not buy any more makeup, although I have decided that I want to just kind of stick to like limited edition stuff that I really want. But other than that, I really don't want to buy makeup unless I'm using like my points at Ulta or something like that. So every week I pick up makeup from my collection, and I'm like forced to use that makeup. The only thing that I really don't pick is eyeshadow palettes, because that really depends on what I'm going to wear on the week, during the week. So sometimes I'll wear like black, sometimes I'll wear like color. So I really want to, you know, be careful when I choose my eyeshadow palettes, because I don't want to wear like a green shirt and then like purple makeup, or purple eyeshadow. So that's the only thing I really don't pick. I may just pick like a neutral palette or something like that, just to have one, and then maybe one colorful one, but that really varies during the week. So I want to show you guys my current picks for this week, and like a little review, first impressions, or like just feedback in general of the stuff that I use. And then I'm also going to show you guys the stuff that I'm going to use next week, and then in next week's video I will review those items and then just pick some new items for the following week. I hope I didn't get you guys confused with that, but if you guys understood, you guys understood. So yeah, that's pretty much what I plan to do with my channel. Obviously I want to incorporate other videos in here too, but for now, just for me to kind of force myself to do more YouTube videos, they will be shop my stash videos. So if you guys want to know what items I used this week and a little review on them, just keep on watching. Okay, so I keep my weekly picks in this Victoria's Secret train case. I've had this for a couple of years now, and I'm barely getting to use it. It is very spacious. It has a lot of space in here. I also keep some eyeshadow palettes in there. I usually keep 2 of everything, so like 2 bronzers, 2 blushes. Sometimes I'll use one more than the other. Sometimes I'll be fair with both, or sometimes I just won't use one of them. But I try to have a little variety, so I'm not like just sticking to one foundation the whole week. I like to kind of have a variety of things. So I'm just gonna pull out the stuff that I've been using this week, and we'll go from there. So I actually only used one eyeshadow palette this week. I used the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. This is one of the newest ones. And this is the first time, or the first week, that I have actually used this palette, and it's just beautiful. I'm really happy that I did pick this up. At first, when I first saw this coming out, it didn't draw my attention. I just felt like it looked too yellow for me, but I decided to pick it up, and I'm really happy that I did. The shadows blend amazing. I did use a couple of the shimmers in here, and it's just a beautiful palette. 2 of the foundations that I used this week were the NYX Born to Glow, and then the Shop Miss A Buildable Satin Foundation. I love both of these. I used this one a little bit more this week. I have the shade Pure Beige, and it was a perfect match for me. I love this so much. It's a really good foundation, and you could easily build it up. It gives you like a really nice satin finish. I really like it, and it's only like less than $2, and I totally recommend it. It does have a dropper. Again, really impressed with how this foundation performed. For the NYX Born to Glow, it's also a really good foundation. This is more of a natural like finish. I have here the shade Natural. It's also a really good match for my skin tone. I love it so much. I didn't really get oily with it. I was pretty impressed with it, and I totally recommend this foundation. With these 2 foundations, I did use a couple of different primers. As you guys could see, I have here the Too Faced Primed and Peachy Cooling Matte Primer. I always used this primer for my teasing with both of the foundations, and it kept me pretty matte. My oils did peek through, it always does that, I mean, but it's not like so excessive where I have to like blot or anything like that. I also did use the Cover FX Blurring Primer. I did use it with both of the foundations and they both performed out fine. For the Catrice Prime and Fine Nude Glow Primer, I only used it with the Shop Miss A since it's more of a satin finish. I didn't want to use it with the Born to Glow because if I did, it would get too glowy and I probably look like a little extra oily, and I didn't want to have that, but I did use it with this one and it was also a really good match together. For powders, I did use the Catrice Prime and Fine Mattifying Powder. I mainly use this one because it has more of a mattifying like effect versus the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. I did use this one with the NYX Born to Glow and it was pretty good. I didn't have like no issues. I still looked pretty like naturally radiant, not like excessively oily, but it was a very good combination. For sprays, I did use the Too Faced Peach Mist Mattifying Setting Spray. I mainly use this one with the Born to Glow Naturally Radiant Foundation because I like to kind of balance out my foundation. So if I'm using a natural luminous finish foundation, I prefer more of a mattifying setting spray. That way I could have like a balance, because if I do like luminous and then luminous or dewy, I will just be a little too oily. And I also did use the Dewy Set ABH setting spray with the AOA Shop Miss A foundation, and they were also a really good combination, had no issues. For blushes, I had these two. I had the Burt's Bees blush in Toasted Cinnamon, and I also had the Too Faced Papadome Peach blush. I really like this one. It has a really nice like shimmery sheen to it. It smells amazing and it goes on really nice. I had no issues with it. For this one from Burt's Bees, I'm not a huge fan on the color. I felt like maybe it's a little too like orangey brown for me, but I think I'm still going to keep it. I feel like it's still a really nice blush for days when I want to look a little bronzy. Maybe not my favorite, but I definitely do want to keep it in my collection. For bronzers, I had these two in my collection or in my bag. This is the NARS Laguna bronzer. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really use this at all this week, so I'm actually going to keep this for next week. I'm gonna leave it aside, that way I can make sure that I use it. I also did use the Urban Decay Beach Bronzer in the shade Bronze. I used this one obviously more than the NARS one, and it's a really good bronzer. I had a little bit of like back and forth with this bronzer, but my final decision is that it's a good bronzer and I really like it. I'm definitely going to keep it in my collection. For highlighters, I did use the Pixie by Petra. I did use both shades. Sometimes I'll use just one, sometimes I'll mix them both, but I really like this highlighter. I feel like you get a lot of like pigmentation. It's a more of a like creamy kind of like formula, but it goes on kind of like a powder. I really like it and I totally recommend it. I also did use the Persona Cosmetics Cali Glow in the shade Zuma. This is one of my favorite highlighters. It's so pigmented, like you could honestly be seen from like miles away. I love it. I'm actually going to put these two away just because I have gotten a pretty good use of them. For concealer, I just used the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Hydrate concealer in the shade C6. It's one of my favorites. I like how this one's more hydrating than the previous one that they released. I like it. The shade is a little light for me, but I mean, I could make it work with my foundations. For setting powder, I did use the Anastasia Loose Setting Powder in the shade Translucent. I really like this powder. I feel like for the price, you get a lot. It's a pretty big tub, and I really recommend it. It's a bit pricey, but again, you get a lot of product for the price. For mascara, I did use the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara, one of my favorite ones. I love the way that this comes off. It does not flake. It makes your lashes really nice and long. The price is a little high, but you get a really good product for that price. So, really recommend it. For brows, I did use my LA Girl Brow Pomade in the shade Soft Black. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you guys know that this is probably one of my favorite brow pomades. It's really good, non-drying. I've had this for a very long time and it has lasted me such a great time without going bad. I've also been using the NYX Control Freak eyebrow gel. I really like this. This is in the clear, and I feel like this does do a really good job at keeping your brows like not having them to move throughout the day. But I really like this. I had some eyeliners here, but I didn't really do my wing or anything like that. I have some from Perfusion, from NYX. I'm just gonna keep them in my bag for next week just in case I do like a wing or something like that. And yeah, that was pretty much it for this week. I'm gonna go ahead and switch out everything and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I have chosen my makeup for next week, and I'm gonna go ahead and start with primers, and that's usually what I start with like on my skin. So I have here the Catrice Prime and Fine anti-shine primer, and then I also have the Smashbox crystallized primerizer. This one is more matte, this one is a little bit more like on the kind of like dewy side, not too much, but it gives you like a nice like luminous finish. So I want like a little bit of both. So these are going to be my primers. And then for foundations, I have here the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow in the shade 203, and then the NYX Can't Stop Bones Top Full Coverage Foundation in the shade True Beige. This one, obviously the shade is off for me, so I'm going to also kind of use my LA Girl Pro pigments to kind of adjust the shade on this one. But yeah, these are going to be my two foundations for the week. Now for powders, I have these two. This one's from Too Faced. This is the Banana Cream powder, and it looks like this. And then I also have this one from ColourPop in the shade Light. For bronzers, as previously mentioned, I'm going to keep the NARS Laguna bronzer in my collection, and I'm also going to add the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula in the shade Bronzer. For blush, I have here too the Makeup Revolution matte blush in the shade Nude. These are no longer available, but I really like the pigmentations on these. I'm also using this Cover FX. This is a duo. It's a matte and shimmer duo in the shade Soft Peach. It's a beautiful, beautiful combination of matte and then shimmer like topper for blush. I love this. And then for highlighters, I'm using the Catrice highlighting powder in the shade Champagne Campaign 020. And then I'm also going to use this Revlon Sunlit Dream highlighting palette. I've never used this, but it is a beautiful highlighter palette, and I'm hoping to use a little bit of all the shades. For setting sprays, I am going to use the Versace Rose Gold Skin Mist and the Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. So I have these two. For concealers, I'm going to use the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Nude, and I'm also going to try out this new liquid concealer from Shop Miss A. This is in the shade Fair Ivory. It's new. I haven't tried it, but I think the shade may be a little light, but I do want to do like a first impressions on this, so you guys will know about it next week. For setting powder, I'm going to use the Juno & Co. Juno Blur Makeup Setting Powder in the shade Brighten. It has like a nice like kind of like a beige tint to it. It's not like white. This is the first time I'm actually going to use this. This will also be a first impressions. Mascara, I'm using the Tarte's mascara, one of my favorite mascaras, and I'm going to keep the brows the same just because I really don't have anything new for brows. And yeah guys, that is going to be my makeup bag or my makeup picks for next week. So you guys will see a review on these next week, and then we will pick out some new stuff from my stash. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.